Hello and welcome to a sentence I never thought I'd say, but here we are. Psychic privacy. It's like regular privacy, but somehow even more invasive. Look, in today's digital age, it feels like everyone's trying to peek inside your head. And I'm not just talking about your internet search history, which, let's be honest, is probably best kept between you and whatever search engine judges you the least. No, I'm talking about something far more insidious. I'm talking about the increasing threat to your psychic privacy. Think about it, from social media algorithms designed to predict your every whim to facial recognition software that knows you better than your own mother, it's like the walls are closing in on our innermost thoughts. And the worst part, it's all perfectly legal. Well, most of it. The point is protecting your psychic privacy, that sacred space where you think about puppies and also what you'd do if you won the lottery, is more important than ever. That's why we're here to tell you about 3 organizations that are fighting the good fight to protect your right to think freely. These brave souls are battling against invasive technologies and shady government practices, all in the name of keeping your psychic sanctuary safe from unwanted intruders. So buckle up, grab your tinfoil hats, and let's dive into the world of psychic privacy because, frankly, it's about time someone talked about it. First up, we have the granddaddy of them all, the American Civil Liberties Union, or as they're known in legal circles, the ACLU. Now you might think of them as that organization your grandma sends money to, the one with the slightly crumpled pamphlets about free speech. And you wouldn't be wrong. But what you might not know is that the ACLU is out there on the front lines, battling psychic invaders like a bunch of silver-haired ninjas. They've been fighting the good fight for over a century, taking on everything from unconstitutional surveillance programs to government overreach into our private lives. They're like the legal dream team you never knew you needed, always ready to step in and tell the government to back off your brainwaves. But don't let their age fool you. The ACLU is hip to all the newfangled ways our privacy is being threatened in the digital age. They're tackling issues like facial recognition technology, data privacy, and the ever-growing surveillance state, all with the same tenacity they brought to those early free speech cases. They know that your thoughts are your own, and they're willing to fight tooth and nail to keep it that way. So, if you're looking for a seasoned veteran in the fight for psychic privacy, look no further than the ACLU. They're the wise old sage of the civil liberties world, dispensing legal wisdom and protecting our right to think freely, one lawsuit at a time. They're basically the Yoda of safeguarding your inner monologue, except instead of living in a swamp, they reside in courtrooms and congressional hearings. And trust me, you want them on your side. Next up, let's talk about the Electronic Frontier Foundation, or EFF. Now these guys are like that tech-savvy friend we all have, the one who can code in their sleep and always has the latest gadget. But instead of just building cool stuff, they're using their powers for good, fighting to protect our digital rights in an increasingly interconnected world. They're like the digital guardians of our psychic space, patrolling the online world and calling out any shady business they see. The EFF focuses on the wild west of the internet, where companies and governments are constantly testing the boundaries of what they can get away with when it comes to your data. They're fighting against mass surveillance, data breaches, and those creepy targeted ads that seem to know what you're thinking before you do. Seriously, how do they do that? It's like they're reading our minds. But the EFF, they're one step ahead of the game, developing tools and technologies to help you protect your privacy online. They're like the Q branch of the internet freedom movement, equipping you with the gadgets and know-how to fight back against Big Brother. They know that the internet is a powerful tool for communication and expression, and they're dedicated to keeping it that way. But their work goes beyond just online privacy. They're also tackling issues like net neutrality, government censorship, and the use of facial recognition technology by law enforcement. Basically, if it involves your right to think freely and express yourself online, the EFF is all over it. They're like the digital detectives of our time, sniffing out privacy violations and fighting for our right to a free and open internet. Chapter 3, the CDT, because democracy needs a software update. And finally, we come to the Center for Democracy and Technology, or CDT. These folks are like the architects of a more democratic digital world. They're not just fighting against bad policies, they're trying to build a better future where technology empowers individuals instead of controlling them. Think of them as the digital diplomats, working behind the scenes to shape the laws and regulations that govern our online lives. They know that technology is constantly evolving, and they're dedicated to making sure that it evolves in a way that benefits everyone, not just corporations and governments. They're like the tech whisperers, explaining complex technical issues to policymakers in a way that even a politician can understand. Because let's be honest, sometimes it feels like those folks couldn't tell a bite from a bite of pizza. But the CDT, they're patient, they're persistent, and they're slowly but surely making a difference. They're the ones fighting for things like strong encryption, data portability, and the right to be forgotten online. They're like the digital architects of our future, designing a world where our privacy is respected and our right to think freely is paramount. They understand that technology is a double-edged sword. It has the power to connect us, empower us, and make our lives easier, but it also has the potential to be used against us, to erode our privacy, and to stifle dissent. And that's where the CDT comes in. They're the ones fighting to make sure that the scales tip in favor of freedom. So there you have it. 3 organizations fighting tirelessly to protect your psychic privacy in our increasingly invasive world. Remember, your psychic privacy is your right. It's the foundation of your freedom of thought, your freedom of expression, and your freedom to be yourself. Don't let anyone, whether it's a tech giant, a government agency, or that creepy neighbor who always seems to be watching, tell you otherwise. Reach out to these organizations, support their work, and let's work together to build a future where our minds are truly our own. After all, in a world that's constantly trying to predict our every move, isn't it nice to keep a few thoughts to ourselves?